Okay, so typographic symbol. So before we start the actual project, you may be doing already, but I want to explain the very brief and then really simple background of typefaces. So before the Johannes Gutenberg's invention of letterpress printing, all the documents and books and Bibles were manuscript, so written by hand. And then after his invention, there were the several different styles. So this is kind of a chronological order from the old style, transitional, modern, Egyptian, and sans serif to a contemporary typeface. So let me go over really quickly. So old style. The most well-known typeface's name is Garamond. It was designed by the Cloud Garamond, and then the interesting feature of this typeface is, as you can see, this is a serif typeface, some decorations here, and then there is no straight line at all. It is all curved, and then it is very classical looking, and then very well balanced with a good proportion. So this is kind of an old style we used, but we're currently using it in these days as well. And the next one is a transitional. And then this one was designed by the Englishman John Baskerville, and it's pretty similar to this Garamond old style, but I will explain the kind of a difference between these two, and then the next one as well. And the next one is the modern typeface. The most well-known typeface's name is the Bodoni. It's the Italian guy. So a lot of historical typefaces name was named by after the designer's name, the Bodoni. So let's compare all these three first: old style, transitional, and the modern. The biggest difference is a contrast level between horizontal stroke and the vertical stroke. So as you can see that here, the modern typeface, the Bodoni, the serif portion, let me zoom in. This horizontal stroke versus this vertical stroke, in terms of stroke weight, there is a big contrast. It's really thick and heavy, and it's very thin hairline horizontal stroke in serif. Compare this to transitional. There's still a contrast level between the horizontal and the vertical stroke, but there's a less contrast. Compared to old style, there is even less contrast. So that's a kind of a really slight difference, but it makes some difference. So for example, this Bodoni typeface, which has the biggest contrast level between the horizontal and the vertical stroke, we still use it, but it's not a good choice for the text copy, for our kind of main copy, like the articles, because of this the big contrast level. So normally this the Bodoni typeface, this modern style, we use it for title or heading, kind of really big type size. So just imagine the magazine, the Vogue fashion magazine. So that is a kind of similar to this modern style. So after this, next one is by chronological order, Egyptian style, or we call this a slab serif. Unlike the previous ones, old style, transitional, and modern, there is no contrast level in between vertical stroke and the horizontal stroke. It's all the same weight. So the Egyptian style is a kind of a nickname, or we call this a slab serif. So I don't know. You may find a kind of similarities to Egyptian hieroglyphs, kind of a dancing figure. So we call this Egyptian style. And then this one was designed during the early 20th century. There were a lot of ancient Egyptian excavation, like a pyramid and the mummies, and then a lot of treasures. So that's why it is named as the Egyptian style. And the Rockwell is a kind of one of the most famous Egyptian style, the slab serif. Okay, so all these four. Let me zoom out a little bit. From transition, from the old style to Egyptian, these are all serif typeface. There's a kind of little tails, decorations. So maybe we can use this more for kind of classical or traditional graphic design product as a headings. The next one is the contemporary sans serif, like this, Helvetica. So Helvetica is the kind of most well-known, like the universe typeface, and then Helvetica is used for the everywhere. So in the big city, like the road sign systems, and then subway signage systems, and then road signs, and then the big sign, anything, or even on taxis, um, is all the Helvetica. Okay, so another feature of each typeface is, so Garamond, this is a typeface, and each typeface has the type family. So let me open this my character box, and then by default, most of typefaces have their kind of four different big type families. So regular, italic, bold, and bold italic. Okay. Baskerville has more: italic, semi-bold, bold italic, and bold, semi-bold italic. Bodoni only has three. So it is all different. Rockwell, oops, four. Helvetica, little more. Light oblique, regular oblique, meaning the italic, like a slanted. Bold and bold oblique. Okay. Um, there are some more typefaces, very famous, and then there's one typeface is called a universe. I don't have that on my computer now, but a universe typeface has most numbers of type family. It's, it is unlimited actually. By controlling the proportion, width, and height, it can still develop. So universe typeface is another kind of famous one. So when you do this, I'm going to explain it more. Um, when you combine two letter forms for the current the typographic symbol project, please try to combine two different styles. So for example, one old style with maybe one Egyptian or one sans serif. So sans serif, serif, old, modern, something like that. Okay, so let me go back to about this project. I explained already, but let me go over quickly. So first, create a 6 by 6 inch square and take two letter forms, letter number or number, and then uppercase or lowercase really doesn't matter, and then it doesn't need to have any meaning, really doesn't matter. And then only one punctuation with the typographic symbol you can use is the and symbol. Please do not use any other punctuation mark like a question mark or the exclamation mark or colon, semicolon, quotation. Don't use that, please. And top letter form in white and bottom letter form in black. Allow at least one open space so figure and ground can communicate. So that means those two letter forms will share at least one spot. Maybe a vertical stroke or a horizontal stroke or a curve. So we will find it. And the principles for making great font combinations. So this is important. It's a kind of a big guidelines or the clue. Number one, combine a serif and a sans serif to give a contrast, like I mentioned. So Garamond versus Helvetica, something like that. Or another kind of open source, I think I explained this. You can go to thefont.com. This is an open source online. And then in the basic sections, there are two things we can use, the sans serif or, see that, and serif. Either one's fine. Vogue. So this is kind of a Bodoni. Okay. So let's say I like to use maybe let me see, Bon Voyage, for example. Download it if you want to use that. Open, and then you can see that in your download folder, and open that folder. There are maybe two, OTF or TTF. It doesn't have a TTF, so you can use either one. OTF stands for the Open Type font, and then TTF stands for the True Type font. So once you choose one, just double click, and it will open in the font book, and click Install Font, and you will see the font in the Illustrator. Okay, see, the made Bon Voyage regular, so you can use that. Okay, now let me go back to this. Avoid choosing typefaces from the same categories, like Garamond Italic plus Garamond Bold. It's not a good choice. So please try to create some kind of a contrast in terms of typographic choices. Contrast the overall weight of the fonts. How thick, how thin, how heavy, how light, bold, light, something like that. Pay close attention to what makes your eyes dart around. So I will show you after this. Look for clever ways to create contrast. So, as I mentioned before, we may think, for example, B, uppercase letter B, and then number 8 may have a good combinations because they have a very similar structure and similar form. But the truth is, it's really hard to make a good combinations because they're too similar. So this is a kind of a tip. For the kind of really successful and very well balanced the typographic symbol combining two letter forms, try to use the two different structure. I will explain it. So for example, the legibility. So this is what I'm talking now. You can find this on the website. So you can download this one. It's about the legibilities. So this is a kind of 4 big groups of the letter forms by the basic structure. So these 5 letters have the vertical structure. These 4 curved. These 7 letters combination of a vertical and the curved. And this last one oblique, meaning there are a lot of angles. So before you choose your 2 letter forms, you may refer this, or you may type all the uppercases or all lower cases. Another thing you may refer is the font, using the font builder as I showed you before. Oh, what is this? Okay, for example, this. So you can preview the shape and the structure of each typefaces. Okay, so maybe you can have upper cases and the lower cases, and then you may imagine, oh, this may make some kind of a good combination, or maybe this is not. Oh, what is this? The spinning rainbow. Stop. Hey. Okay. And additional characteristics distinguishing letters. Okay. Each letter form has the kind of biggest characteristics. So this is kind of samples and examples. So I type the other word, legibility in caps and the legibility in lower cases. And then I cut in a half, I divide it. And then, as you can see that, the upper halves of this each letter form provides more visual clues. So if I lose the bottom half, still I have a pretty big clues. I can tell. Maybe not all of them. For example, this the letter uppercase letter L. I think it is kind of hard to tell, but in general. And then C, D, O, R, these four letters, the right halves of letters are more recognizable. So each letter form has that kind of different characters. So you will need to figure it out. So let me go back to this. Stick with a high quality typeface so you know the names of, like I mentioned before. These styles. Garamond, Baskerville, Bedonia, Rockwell, or Helvetica. Or you can find something similar. You don't have to stick on these five. You can find even more. Or you can find something on the font.com. The reason is these typefaces have been proved historically for a long time, has a really good proportion and then very well balanced and really easy to read. Consider contrast. So the funny thing is, we're looking for very well designed and well balanced typographic symbol combined two letters. But in order to complete, in order to achieve that the really well balanced typographic symbol, we will need to use the opposite concept, that is contrast. Contrast of weight, contrast of style, and contrast of angle, like these four examples. So I don't know what the order is. A4, 4A, QM, MQ, and, or AG or GA. We don't know. It really doesn't matter. But as you can see that, each one has the kind of a contrast. So for example, this A and 4. Number 4 is a sans serif, very modern or very contemporary, and the lowercase a is very classical, and also it has an angle. It is rounded, curved, and number 4 is more angular. Same thing on this letter M, M and Q, and the symbol, N, A and G, oblique, curved. So I try to combine the totally two different styles and different weight and different angle, because for example, this and symbol thing, lowercase letter n is a kind of a more like the upright, and this and symbol has a lot of kind of features, like there's a curved, there's an angle. This is a serif style, so I really enjoyed doing this. So let me show you kind of a really quick the process for this. So let me move this, not in here, make a new file. We are looking for 6" by 6". Okay, so first, let me do that the A4. I'm gonna type number 4, like I did. And let me choose, I think that was maybe Arial black, heavy and bold. Okay. So I'm gonna use it as a ground, black. Ah, sorry, it's too big. It's too big. It's okay. Okay, and then before we combine this with another letter, please always apply create outline under type because we're going to have the more control. Okay, so now this is number 4. I may use it as it is, but I need to find the kind of the biggest characteristics of this number 4. So for example, uh, think about the letter, uppercase letter A. Let me type here, letter A, and create outlines. Okay, I think I showed you this before. Okay, so what is the biggest characteristics of this letter A? It's a pick on top. So as long as I keep them this pick, it will look like the A. So let's try this. Let's try to feature just a minimum characteristics of this letter A. So by using the minus pen tool, delete anchor point tool from your toolbox, you can get rid of each anchor point. So I got rid of that, the closure, the inner closure, kind of little triangle thing. But it looks still uppercase letter A. Let me make it even simpler. A. Okay, it's like a triangle, tippy, or tent, or perspective, something. But it still looks like an A. Okay. So after this, we can try more. For example, um, let me type some other letters on top. Like this time, I'm gonna try, since this is the angular and oblique has a lot of directions, let me try something a little bit different style and different typefaces. I'm gonna use letter, let me see, letter T. Let's see what happens. Letter T in white. Okay, and then I'm gonna choose different style, some serif. Let me choose Times New Roman. Okay, place it on top, and then make it bigger, or let me choose a different style, like a bold, and create outlines. Okay, like this. It's way too big. I can make it smaller, place it. Okay, so when you combine those two different styles, like the one serif and the sans serif, please try to utilize this serif. It's a kind of a big clue. Since we are on the white background, the gray background, let me apply, make a new artboard. Okay. Okay. So I can see the A and T, but what if I have this on the bottom like this? Maybe I move down a little more. Still, I can see the T. If I move it up, like here, I can see the letter T. Even a little more, I can see the letter T. I don't know which one is the best choices, but obviously this is not the best choice because we are losing too much. So same way, let me try on this letter 4. No, number 4. I'm going to get rid of this little triangle inside. Obviously this is still number 4. And let me type like I did. Use the lowercase a. Maybe not this one. There are the several different type of lowercase a. I'm gonna choose white. Okay, and let me change my typeface. I'm gonna use, let's see, maybe this. Okay. And let me create outlines as always. And let me make it bigger. Okay. So this is a 4A or A4. No problem of reading. The legibility is pretty clear, but we're looking for, as I mentioned, at least one open space. So I can play with this. What if I move it to here? I still can see the A and 4. Or if I move it to here, I can still read it. But the better solution for the kind of communication between the figure and ground, smoother communication between those two letter forms, let me try this. What if I hang this over here? I can read it, A and 4. But as you can see that this number 4 has that kind of really big diagonal line, this line thing here, but we're losing it because of this letter A. So what if I line this up on the same line like this? You see? So funny thing is, I'm losing some portion of this number 4, but at the same time, I'm losing the lowercase letter a as well. But we can still read it because our eyes been trained, and then we can make some kind of imaginary lines. And then also this big the black oval of this lowercase a, it replaces of this kind of a big outline of number 4 as well. Still, you can play. I can make it even bigger. Let me try what happens. Maybe this is not good because it's got the oval is kind of a cut. So I'm going to move it down, maybe like this. So it's getting better. Or you may try to here. Okay. But if I do this, I don't know, it's kind of too big. I may want to make it a little bit smaller, like this. That's not too bad. But I want to have the kind of even smoother connection from A to 4. So for example here, this spot, it is angled. What if I have some kind of a smoother connection from A to number 4? That would be even better. So in order to do that, there's the reason why we create outline. So let me change my tool to this white arrow. It's called a direct selection tool. With this tool, you can select point by point. The blue filled one, that's the current selection. So for example, here, you can move this around like this. And then most of each anchor point has this little tiny blue lines called the handler. So you can make a kind of a smoother connection like that. Even you can get rid of one of them if you don't want to use it. And use this. I'm happier now. Has a better connection. So from the inside to the outside, but also from the outside to the inside. So kind of a communicating. Okay. So please do not distort too much of each letter form, but you can still make some changes by controlling each anchor point. Okay. So that's how I did these 4 things. Okay. Maybe we can do something more here too. This and the symbol looks okay, but I can see that there's a kind of a little bump here. I'm kind of trying to be very picky. I want to make kind of even better connection. So using this direct selection tool, let me select this point. I'm going to move this around. Let me zoom in even more. Yep, it's getting better. I can have a better connection. Or I may want to get rid of one of them. It's gone. And then again, by using this direct selection tool, controlling this handler, you can have smoother connection to another letter. So now I'm happier. Okay, we're trying to be happy. Okay, so I hope that this helps, and let's have fun with the two letters. Okay.